T-minus 4 minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. T-minus 50 seconds. T-minus 40 seconds. T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0.
Yeah. Look, black and blue lines. Yeah. Hey, that's a new vibe. Yeah. Hey, black and blue lines. Hey, that's a new vibe. Hey, park catalyst. I think we got a hit. Hey, black and blue lines. Look, we got Prince, Blue and Steppe talking black and blue lives. The black and blue lives. It's Steppe and Blue.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? What is up? It is the Black and Blue Lives podcast. I am your host, Dr. Prince Blue, and that is my right hand man, my co host, Sergeant Step there. What's going on, Step? Where are you?
I'm in an undisclosed bunker somewhere
Listen,
in the Midwest.
with everything that's going on, I don't blame you. Get your bunker down, protect yourself. Hey,
I'm
I
100,
feel you.
123 feet underground right now.
Hey,
So
make it 125 just to be sure. Um, But no, this episode is going to be a fun one. Well, a fun one for us because we're revisiting the whole defund the police thing where it became a rallying cry heard around the world. But where are all those people now in those organizations? We're going to talk about how that movement it divided the nation, and we're going to examine what changed and what got worse, from the budget cuts and the officer shortages to the community trust and the political scapegoating. We're going to ask the question: was defund ever really about money, or was it a message gone off the rails? And Step, you and I were both here. I retired in 2019. What year you retired again, Step?
2021.
2021. So you
Mhm.
were you was on the in the beginning of in the middle of the pandemic where that whole defund thing it really started gaining some steam. And I was watching it recently retired from the outside, but I was still feeling those effects because a lot of the things that I wanted to do that had anything to do with law enforcement, it got looked at differently. You know, when you're applying for jobs, when you're trying to use your policing as something to put on your resume or something to be proud of, people looked at it differently. They held it to a different standard. And you know, many people had the defund police as different things. Some people had it as, you know, no police. Some people had it as more training. Some people had it as for some reason some people had it less equipment that can hurt people, like people wanted to get rid of tasers. It was just a whole mess. When let's start here, Step. When you first heard the whole defund police thing, what was your first thoughts about it?
Well, one, knowing what I know and my background, I thought it was the stupidest thing I ever heard. And I was like, there's no way this is going to catch any traction. I was surprised that, you know, some of these major cities, Austin, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, all these places were, they fell right into the trap and started defunding the police, hurting, recruitment and training. And it blew my mind that people were willing to do that.
Yeah, and you just named them because I got it right up here. I got some stats because I know how y'all love stats. What's your source? What's your source? Your mama's my source. Listen, so which cities actually cut funding and which quietly refunded it? Cities that cut funding 2020 through 2021. Minneapolis pledged, where it all
Wow.
started with the whole George Floyd thing. They pledged to dismantle the police departments in 2020, then voted to cut $8 million by 2021. And guess what they ended up doing? Refunding the department amid rising crime. Austin, Texas, cut 150 million, one third of the budget in 2020. By
Golly.
2021, they restored funding and added new incentives due to staffing issues and backlash.
Yep.
New York City, y'all are just not having a great decade, 15 to 20 years. Reallocated $1 billion in 2020, mainly by moving school safety officers to the Department of Education and delaying hires. Los Angeles cut 150 million from LAPD's 1.8 billion-dollar budget in 2020. By 2022, they increased it again. And Seattle, Seattle. Don't have a basketball team, but still fucking up. Cut
Yep.
18% of the police budget in 2020. By 2022, faced a massive staffing crisis and rising crime, prompting partial refunding. When I'm
Yeah.
listening to those steps,
Mhm.
what jumps out to you?
So the biggest thing is, we're almost 5 years past the time when they cut the budget, because most of these cities, their fiscal year starts in June, July, uh, and they're in a manpower shortage. They're in a hiring. All the cities you named are extremely short on staff. I mean, look at Charlotte. They're 300 officers down, and they play with the numbers. Like in Charlotte, we're right at 2,000 sworn officers. Well, so it didn't look so bad. They said, well, now we're supposed to be at 1,800. So they lowered the number of officers that they said we're supposed to have, so it didn't look as bad. But now, where I know here in Charlotte, I've talked to some of the recruiters where there used to be, like when you and I got hired, 5,000 people, 2,000 people apply for academy class of 30 to 50. Now it's 300,
Mm-hmm.
which is a direct uh calls of, because I was a cop during 9/11, and people loved us then, right? The fire department, public safety, you'd go in places, and even the people who didn't like the police had a respect for you. And after 2020, it was just everybody became militant. Everybody became, I know my rights. I don't have to do what you tell me to do. Everybody wanted to resist arrest, and I was embarrassed to this day. I've got to be careful that, I'm sure you feel the same way, that I'm a retired cop, just because the way that some people in society looks at us now, like we're part of like a occupation force, or just these evil people that want to hurt minorities. I mean, that's the way the media push us.
Yeah, and just like what Pat just said, she said San Francisco Mayor Bree cut Elio the couple years and then begged to come back. Right here, my stats. San Francisco cut 120 million from San Francisco PD in 2020. Between 2022 and 2023, they added millions back for overtime and crisis response. And this is the thing here, Step. This is the thing. Bad enough to do this job, you have to already be a little bit unhinged, because pretty much you're sacrificing your life. When you start playing around with police officers, you start playing around with morale, you start playing around with their money, you start playing around with their benefits, and then most importantly, you start playing around with their mental health. Let me tell you something. When I sent out the promo to this, a lot of people was like, the best decision I ever made was leaving police. Step, you and I know that there was a time when we couldn't think of anything else. Like if people would have been like, well, what happened if you're not a police officer tomorrow? We would literally look at them. We'd be like, I don't know what I'll do. I'll die. Yeah. Like this is what I do. This is what I love.
Because your identity, and it's your passion. Is something you're passionate about.
And the funny thing about it is, like, when you got somebody that's willing to do this, because not everybody's willing to do it. I'm not saying that, you should treat them as they walk on water, but bottom line is, this is a position that a lot of people cannot and will not do. So the ones that are doing it and doing a good damn job, why are you messing with that? Just because a couple criminals got out of their way and they got dealt with and they won stupid prizes, and now you want to condemn a whole police department and defund police, when number one, who is going to investigate these murders? Who is going to investigate these rapes? Who is going to investigate these kidnappings? Who is going to investigate this gang violence? Who is going to investigate all this crime and dissent that's going on? Y'all already told us that y'all not snitching on each other. So should we just let y'all just have at each other and just nuke each other? No. So you need police officers. So the whole defund police thing was stupid. And when I look at this money, when I look at in New York, in Seattle, early retirements and resignations skyrocketed. Seattle lost over 400 officers from 2020 to 2022. New York City saw a 46% jump in retirements in 2020 alone. Remember when you and I was coming through, we had older guys that we was like, would you just go home? Like, you're literally like 90 years old. That was because they loved this job. They loved it. It was a good job to have. Now you got officers that's seeing, how much military time can I buy back? How soon can I retire? Oh, you telling me I'm gonna take a 23% hit on my pension if I retire early? You know what? I'll take that. Versus getting into something, then losing everything, and I'm this close to retirement.
Yeah. And we've seen it time and time again in some of the videos we watch, where and the recruiters I talked to, we said it before, they're saying, hey, we're filling the slots, but we're not hiring cops. It takes a special person. Yeah. So, but so part of me is, I feel bad for the cops, the good cops who are still in the profession. Uh, but part of me, these politicians who destroy their cities, and crime rises, and then they want protection, and then there's a couple clips, especially in San Francisco, about the same council members who wanted defund the police or
Now they
complaining
want personal bodyguards.
personal bodyguards, and they're complaining there's not enough police in their area. So it's like whatever way the wind blows, they always want to be on the winning team. Uh, and it it the people who call the police are going to suffer, and people wonder, hey, why do I have to wait? Our chief, why did he have to wait 45 minutes an hour directing traffic? you know, because there's nobody available. Because morale was so bad, they're not hiring people that they need. They're 200 officers short. That's two divisions short of officers. There's no one to come. If there's no one to come, there's no one to come. Like you can't. You know how many times you saw it too in Eastway on a busy night, or I'll log on in Still Creek, and there's 30 calls in queue, which queue is like pending in that area, and by the time, second shift checks off, it's still 20, 25 calls a queue. They're not making a dent in anything because they're just going to call to call to call. And you can't handle or investigate the calls that you need to properly because you're now it's just hurry up, take the report, and go to the next call.
And then people don't, then you're missing stuff, you're getting sloppy reports. There was time steps where you couldn't even do roll call. You was like, hey, everybody just get your stuff, log in, I don't have anything, whatever. And it's crazy, and I'm looking at it here. Let's see what right here. Gen Z doesn't see policing as an attractive or respected profession anymore. Departments had to offer big signing bonuses. Now you got police like athletes. Like, hey, if you sign on, you get this, and whoever refers you get this, but you have to be on for a year and all this stuff. Like, there was a time where we didn't need signing bonuses. You
No.
telling us we get to protect our community and we get to be a police officer, we get to wear a badge? Sign me up. Now you have to offer bonuses, and police are still understaffed. And then I'm looking at it here. Homicide spiked by 30% nationally in 2020, the largest 1 year increase in record by the FBI. Shootings, carjackings, property crime. Communities that asked for reform didn't ask for less safety. And that's true. And I think what happens is a lot of people get caught up in the like defund police was really a generic term. Nobody actually knew what that meant.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, some people thought it meant no police. Some people thought it meant less police. Some people thought it meant more training. Some people thought it meant this. Some people meant that. And that's my problem. Whenever a movement gets hijacked and you don't even know what the true essence of the movement is, especially when it comes to law enforcement, it should have never been a thing. But you had the media taking advantage of it. You had poor leadership and in good positions doing it, and you had people that cough Charlotte that ran on stuff like that. Hey, look at us. I'm going to make sure that my police officers are nice. They're like Chick-fil-A workers, and they do this and they do that. Okay, what about being cops? What about right now, Steppe? You see how you got officers out there that really don't know what they can and cannot do.
No, yeah. And it's you're getting, it's important that your house is getting broken into, you have the right officers showing up. But now, there's, and I've seen it in you as well as you seen it. There's a hot call or somebody's getting shot or shooting in progress, robbery in progress, and you're passing because so they usually say they dispatch two vehicles to a armed robbery. Well, that doesn't mean only two are going. Everybody, a lot of people are going. If you're free, you're going to like a shooting or robbery. But I've passed the units that are en route that have dispatched the call, stop at a red light with a crime, shooting in progress, robbery in progress. They're taking their sweet time to they're not even trying to get their kids back yet, because then you call them out and you're like, what are you doing? They're like, well, if we get there and have to shoot somebody, it's easier just to get there afterwards when everything's done. and have job security and take a report and go to the next one. If we get there, then we could get in trouble because we might have to use force. And it blows my mind.
And this is what the culture has breeded, and this is poor leadership. This is leadership cowing down to the media and protecting their own again. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. These deputy chiefs and chiefs, they're literally leaving one pension and then going and running a whole nother organization and getting another paycheck. So they're good to go. When these officers are no longer able to work, or they're on suspension, or they're on admin leave, remember that's the off duty. That's everything else and all that. And it's, Belinda, you're old. That's why you're taking a nap. But that's what happens now, and we don't, and nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows how to address it. All they know is, hey, I'm making six figures. I got this department of this company looking at me to run their security firm later on, so let me not mess stuff up and do all this stuff. So it's just wild to me, Step, and the whole defund police thing. It's just 5 years later, I just read the stats to you. It just showed that it doesn't work. It was just some fancy thing that media and higher ups can get behind, but it did nothing. All the crime increased, and I do want to ask this though, Step. If we was really doing like a real reform, like if there's one thing that you've seen that you said, yes, when it comes to police, yes, I feel like we need to reform this, what would that be?
Honestly, as much as it's a good tool to have is to search cars and stuff, is marijuana. Marijuana, I tell people all the time, dude. I've been a cop, for well over 20 years, and I never had a problem in 20 years with someone just smoking weed, right? So it's not like they
Mm-hmm.
smoke weed and go out and say, hey, let's go commit crime, or and not saying that it doesn't slow you down, you could cause a wreck or whatever. But anyway, but think about the hundreds of times a day you're dealing with people, or the department's dealing with people who are intoxicated. And you think about it as a plant, people, we're sending people to prison and for a plant, right? So it has actually some health benefits to it for anxiety. Uh, I, I know like a lot of people who are on chemotherapy, they take it because it helps with the nausea, seizures. But like I said, it was a good tool because you smell marijuana. It gives you PC to search your car and you find guns and stuff like that. But honestly, why? Like, think if you sit down and think about it, and it was years in my career when I started thinking about how many officers have been killed enforcing marijuana laws. It's like you think back in the
Mm-hmm.
prohibition when they had not ALE, which is equivalent now, but uh resource not uh
Booze.
the whatever the officers were called in, the revenue, they were
Uh-huh.
revenue police or whatever, they were killed over booze, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people and jail and stuff in jail over stupid stuff like that. What do you think?
I You know what? I never thought about that. And that's funny coming from you, Step, because I always gotta be honest on this. That was a lot of officers weigh in, especially white
Hmm.
officers when it came
Yeah,
in urban neighborhoods. That was their way in. I smell
absolutely.
marijuana, search the car, and
Yep.
you be like, do we really want to get into this? Do we really want to do this? Um, so yeah, my reform would be the whole I fear for my life. I feel like that gets used too I feel like that gets used too much. I was in fear for my life. Okay. I feel like anybody can use that, and I feel like a lot of officers got away with that when you could have went hands on, you could have used a different tool in your belt, or you could have just not been engaging at all. And that's one of the things I think, like how like in policy is conduct unbecoming, how they just sweep
To catch all.
everything. Yeah. I feel like I fear for my life is a catch-all because everybody
Yeah.
can say that. Now, if you're a 4'11" female against a 6'9" man and he's beating the hell out of you and you shoot him, okay. Or he's raging on something and he's coming towards you, that's kind of different. You could kind of see the size difference and blah blah blah. But you be having man on man, and they be like, "Oh, I was in fear of my life," and I was like, "Well, what are they training you in Red Man? What are they training you in defensive tactics? What are they training you in disengaging? What are they training you about other things on your belt? What are they training you about how to speak to people so you won't even be in this situation?" So I feel like that's one of the things that I would definitely want to look at, how police officers, and also that goes into temperament. When you're hiring these people, yes, they sound good in the interview and stuff like that, but throughout the process in the academy, yes, I know it costs money when you're putting these people through the academy, but if you know for a fact that they're going to end up costing you more money in the long run because they're scared, or they're going to shoot because they can't fight, or they're scared to engage, or they're not going to show up to work, or they're not going to back a partner up, you got to start getting rid of these people.
They're more likely, without the right mindset and training, they're more likely to use excessive force,
Mm-hmm.
because their capability isn't there. Somebody go hands on. Somebody like us, we've had it. If I just wanted to shoot people, right? If that was my goal, I want to become a cop and shoot people. I can probably shoot on been legally justified, maybe like once every
A
other week
lot of times. A
to
lot
shoot
of
something.
times.
If I just wanted to be legally justified. And to your point, that I think that was abused a lot, especially before body cameras, because a lot of the stuff that came out when body cameras started rolling out and what these officers are doing, if you would have told me that, you know, 10 years ago, when before the body, I would like, there's no way an officer is going to do that. There's no, and you're seeing this stuff, and it's blowing your mind with some of these officers. And we talked about this many times. If officers, it's one thing making a mistake, right? If a reasonable officer is going to make mistakes, so you have to. But some of these officers are just, you see them. We was it North Charleston, that pretty much, shoot somebody in the freaking back running away and playing a gun. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, this is stuff that just not only body cameras but cameras, and so a lot of departments just not here for my life. You have to be able to articulate, well, why, you know. So, and that's good and bad, because sometimes, you're dealing with an armed robbery suspect and you're chasing him, and he's reaching his waistband, and like he's going for a gun, and you shoot him, and he doesn't have a gun, and they send you to prison. So it's kind of hurt us both ways. Where before, there's use of the force. Now we're sending people to losing their job and sending them to court on
Mm-hmm.
trial, uh, for using a reasonable amount of force when a deadly threat occurs. But now, in training, when we were doing FMT training, I remember, and it goes against everything the lieutenant stood for, because he knows better, but he was being told, basically, if you're not sure, wait for the muzzle flash. I mean, they would rather
What?
us. Yeah. So, like, if someone's pointing something that it could or couldn't be a gun, and you're not 100% sure, wait for the muzzle flash.
I'm
You know,
dead.
yeah. So, but they would rather have that. And every officer, if you're caught more than 6 months, you realize real quick they'd rather me get killed so they could band together, get on the news, the mayor, the city council member, say, hey, what a great person I was, and get all this community support, than us use real judgment, kill a bad guy who's a piece of crap, kill him, and then people protest, and then I'm a bad guy and a racist and everything else. They'd rather me get killed. So, and they just don't have. Well, before, a lot of politicians really didn't appreciate the police, but we were, they would even say we were a um, evil necessity or whatever. So,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a bad time to be a police. And to your point earlier, people used to never leave the police department. If we'd get those weekly emails of who would leave, and sometimes no one would leave for months at a time. If someone left, like, hey, where did so and so go? Oh, he went to the FBI, or went to the ATF, or he went to Cincinnati Police Department or something. That's the only time when anybody left and got out of law enforcement. Now, dude, 2020, especially after the riots, there were 15, 20 people they did it every 2 weeks. They sent out the leaving. And you're like, dude, this guy had 20 plus years on. He gave up his whole pension multiple times, or taking a hit, doing the 25-year retirement. Good cops, because they just had enough.
It's wild, Step, and I it just show you. I just read it off in the 5 years. That's why you shouldn't be so short sighted, especially when it comes to law and order and law enforcement, because people want Gotham. They want the end of Batman Returns, when it's just cops versus the people, and I'm telling you right now, you won't win. So
And
why not just work together to make sure the community is better?
and how long will it take to get back to where we have enough police that are trained and doing what they're supposed to do? Once they defund and take that money out and recruiting, you lose a couple recruiting classes. It's going to take Charlotte's anticipating 5 years at minimum before they're able to get enough people with retirements and stuff before they're at full staff.
And they
Five
just
years.
opened another division, so
They
there's
don't
that.
have personnel to staff it.
Yeah, well, I know who ain't gonna be working here. You and me.
Absolutely.
We'll be back after this after this next message. All right, Step. You know, one of the most popular segments is when you and I break down viral clips that are going around, and one that I found in particular is the one that they always tell us that when somebody may have a gun, may not have a gun, may have a knife, may have a slingshot, whatever, what they tell us: shoot them in the leg. Why couldn't you shoot them in the leg? Why couldn't you shoot the knife out their hand? Why couldn't you have shot the chandelier, then the chandelier falls on them? Blah, 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 blah. Take a look at this. What the hell was that, Step?
I don't know. I saw that video earlier in the week. I don't know if it was Poland or Russia or somewhere, but
Mhm.
uh, I couldn't find anything that said what happened. Did the officer end up getting stabbed?
I couldn't find anything either. Nobody posted anything in the comments, but I do know you can use your imagination because none of those shots hit, and the knife wielding lunatic kept progressing.
He just did a hopscotch and jumped over the bullets, man. That's why it under a stressful situation, even at close range, it's hard to hit your target, a moving target, right? That's trying to hurt you. So and then we've seen it multiple times in videos, and an officer shoots somebody 5 or 6 times and lay on the ground, and that person still had to roll over and fire around and kill the officer. So that's why, people are like, well, why? It's not you shoot somebody in the arm and they fall to the ground, and then you hear these untrained people all the time. Oh, once he's on the ground, you can't shoot him again. You're like, he shot him while he was on the ground. That was too many. So which is not true at all. But I mean, that's a perfect example of why we don't aim towards the leg, and why even if he did take a round in the leg, he's still coming at you and could hurt you.
Absolutely. And when I saw that, it was like, and then you would see all the memes where it was like Yosemite Sam shooting at the feet of Bugs Bunny
Yeah,
and his
yeah, yeah, yeah.
hopscotch. That's exactly what it is. That's why you have to eliminate the threat. You don't eliminate the threat shooting to the ground and shooting at their feet, shooting their toe. What you gonna shoot their middle toe and hope it severs an artery?
They just fall down and surrender, man. I mean, not saying it never can happen, but I'm not taking that chance. You come at me with a knife, my goal is to go home, or you go at somebody else with a knife. Is bad things are gonna happen to you.
Absolutely. And Step, this next video we have, I definitely want to break this one down. You and I, Step, we've been on calls where surroundings are not ideal, your position is not ideal, and how fast you have to critically think. You've been in a shooting where you had to critically think, cover, occupied dwelling, who's behind there, who else is there, somebody shoot at me, blah blah blah. I want us all to look at this, and then we're going to talk about how you and I both were in these situations and how dynamic a officer involved shooting can be.
Hey, sir. Hi. What's he doing? What's he doing? What's going on? Give me 10-3. Give me 10-3. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Shots fired. Shots fired. Drop the gun. Drop. Come here. Come out. Come out. Come out. Come out. Come out with your hands up. Show me.
Right there. He's behind the trash can. Is that the best cover? Absolutely not. But it's all he has right now. I'm going to keep playing it.
I'm in the rear. Drop the gun. Drop the gun. Get out of the car, man.
Oh my God, please don't. No. We don't have the gun. Oh my God.
She's saying he doesn't have a gun. So what's firing back at him? Firecrackers?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
46, I'm good. 46, I'm good. We got more shots fired. He's got a gun in his hand. He's in the house. Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Come out with your hands up! Hands up! Come out to me! Come out to me! Come out to me! Come out to me! Come out! Damn it. You gotta get down on the ground, sir. You gotta get down on the ground. It's on the ground. We're getting him detained. Scene is safe. 3 minutes in now, around the back alley.
Alright, I'm gonna go get medic stuff.
Fuck. Sir, where are you headed?
Everywhere.
Oh, shit. 46, he's got a gunshot wound. Lower jaw. 3 sirens off.
Well, why is he worried about the sirens?
That you know what, me Step, you and me here. I'm like, why is he worried about the sirens? He's not sneaking in somewhere now. I don't know why he wants to kill the sirens, but adrenaline dumping. He just was in the shootout at the OK Corral. Step, what did you see?
Well, that's the first time I've seen that video, so I don't know the context or the backstory or what led up to it. But one thing is, it brings a couple things. You know, my shooting was over 7 minutes long. The one in 16, I shot 284. I don't know, over 80 rounds fired. I was on my last magazine, and you have to remember that's why if we go on an alarm call or we go to a DV or wherever a traffic stop, you're paying attention to your surroundings because there's two different times. There's cover and concealment, right? So a lot of people get them confused. Cover is something that may possibly stop a bullet, right? So it'd be maybe a car, brick wall, house, tree, post, or something like that. Okay. Concealment is something that hides you, such as that trash can. Whatever that dude's shooting is, I guarantee you, it's going to go through both sides of the trash can. So it conceals your location or your silhouette, they say, but but it's not a stop a bullet. So so he did right. If somebody I heard a couple rounds, there after someone shoots, there's no more telling me. I'm not telling them to drop the gun. I'm gonna put rounds on them. But then he did kind of readjust and go to cover, which is not perfect. But a car, they say get behind an engine block or somewhere, somewhere that's potentially could stop a bullet. It's a chaotic situation, and that's why training is so important in mindset, right? So you have to assume when you're walking up to this house, it's in the back of your mind. I'm not saying walking out with with your gun out to alarm call, but you have to pay attention to where if shit happens. Like, okay, if somebody comes out shooting, and this should be going through your mind on a traffic stop or whatever. You're playing scenarios through your mind. Okay, if I'm walking up here and someone comes out shooting, where's my cover? Where's my concealment? What am I going to do? How am I going to act? Because in a true life, we've both been in shootings. We both had to shoot people. and there's no time to think. It's just reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you take time to try to think and figure shit out, you're going to potentially die. That's why the training mindset is so important. Because, in my shooting, I did 2 reloads. I shot standing, I shot kneeling, I shot prone, I shot on my back, I mean, everything was, I didn't tell myself to do anything. It was just
Mm-hmm.
my training kicked in.
Yeah, and the one thing I will give him, he was so calm on that radio, letting them know what he had, like, hey, we still firing shots. He's in the house. He still has the gun. And then he was also telling that person to get out of the car, because one of the person, I don't know, for whatever reason, they got in the car, and he's like, hey, get out of the car, because now he got 2 people he got to work. I don't know what's in that car. Then I got somebody actively shooting at me. So he was really calm in that. I loved him. Like, you wasn't a fan of the commands, but I think that's another not a downside, but one of those things to training, when it's drilled in your head, you're like, drop the gun, wait a minute,
No, you're right. You're right.
yeah, but yeah, and I like how still secured him. They didn't care that he was bleeding. Officer came, put cuffs on him, was like, I don't care.
I'm sure as hell at that point, I'm not telling the dude that shot at me, sir, my ass.
Right, but some people would have went to, like, even when I was in my shooting and I shot the guy, I ran up on him, I put cuffs on him. Then I'm like, hey, where were you hit? And he was like, I was hitting my leg and my chest. And I was like, oh, okay. Medic, start medic. He's been hitting the chest and he's been hitting the leg. But he was cuffed. Like, I ain't doing no aid or nothing like that. No.
I don't care. Like when I ran up on my guy, I tried to flip him over. He was obviously out of commission.
Mm-hmm.
When I grabbed and tried to flip him over, I just slipped. He had so much blood all over him. I just slipped. I tried to pull him over and I couldn't get any grip on him because he was just in blood. But yeah, I didn't care. I didn't care as I was hanging out, and he was took a couple rounds in the head and everywhere else. He was going to handcuffs.
Yeah.
So.
And that's another thing, Step. Speak to that. Like, look how many rounds he fired, and that guy was still going. But you want us to shoot people in the leg? That guy was still an active threat. He was still an active threat with all those rounds inside his body.
Yeah, and did you believe that? Like, he didn't have a gun, and you and I both know that, and most people don't realize. You hear that all the time. It's a play gun. He didn't have a gun, and then which. I don't care what. I mean, this was evident because he was shooting at the officer and he heard the shots. But even if it not, because I love it when someone comes out with a gun and points it like the real gun, and the officer shoots them, and they say, "What?" And the people, the critics, like, well, that person said, somebody yelled at him, it wasn't a real gun. What, if you act like, if you point it like a real gun, if it even looks like a gun, and you point at me, you're gonna get shot. So, but at this point, the bad guy was shooting shots, and you still had. Probably a family member or relative or somebody that could be saying, it's not a gun.
It's not a gun. Well, what is it then, ma'am? What the hell is it? And this is why also other people are dangerous that's around or in the house too. And if you listen to them, you's a plumb fool. And the one thing else I did notice about that whole clip was it just went from sugar to shit quick. Like he wasn't listening to no commands. He was like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then, it turned into a gunfight. So
sometimes you have to, but the other thing is, remember, dude, wait for your backup. Once I don't care if the guy's bleeding out, and fuck him, right? He's just trying to shoot you. Wait, don't run up on the house, because I've had it happen before where then you have another family member, you might have another shooter or someone.
They might want to pick up where you left off.
Yeah, you shot somebody's friend or brother or dad or somebody, and then they start shooting at you.
Mm-hmm.
Give them commands, walk them to you. You don't. And I get the adrenaline's going, and sometimes it's appropriate to do stuff like that, but you got to be careful. You got to think. Always assume there's another threat.
Right. And in this next video, Step, I don't know if you've been seeing this, but it's something I've never heard of this. You could teach a old guy new tricks. It's this big emphasis on elbow flare. Like, if you see an elbow flare, that normally means they're going for something in their waistband, or they're going to be aggressive. I want to show you a DUI stop with the same elbow flare, and look how fast it goes from sugar to shit.
Okay. So what was your intention? He didn't want to provide the information. You know, it's state law to do that, right? What did you hit?
Final update on 96
All right.
Park.
I'm not going to debate about it with you, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to put you in handcuffs. We're going to put you in the back seat. We're going to move your car over there with the other 2 cars that are about to crash, okay? Hey, whoa, up down, up down, up down, up down! Shots fired, shots fired, shots fired! Shots fired!
0 to 20, man. I mean, 0 to 20, 0 to 100. Just like that. The guy's talking to him. There's no time to escalate. I'm not a fan of telling people they're going to go in handcuffs or they're under arrest before I get them out of the car.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either.
But I'd say, I always downplay. Hey, dude, it's not a big deal, man. Just step out and talk to him. Let me show you. Let me show you. And then you get them out, and then hands on, you're under arrest, put your hands behind your back. But that shows you, dude, you don't know who you're dealing with, man. You're like, hey, this is some drunk redneck white dude or whatever. And then you're talking to him, and then like that, he pulls out a gun. And then on the other side, and we've seen it happen many times, as well as the first video, you got the critics be like, oh, the officers are only talking to him for 10 seconds before he shot him. They don't put it in context. Well, it works both ways. You're talking to somebody. Sometimes an officer didn't get a chance to make it the car before they get in a shootout. But who set the timeline? The bad in both of those videos, the bad guy. There's no de-escalation, and there's no once they're going for a gun or whatever, it's game on. And I saw that video too earlier in the week, and I was like, man, it just reiterated 0 to 100 just like that, man. You don't know who you're dealing with. You have to assume everybody you deal with may try to kill you.
Yeah, and then the funny thing is, man, that guy, he was quick with it. That's why they always tell you, keep your fingers ready, available, steeple fingers, keep your fingers in front of you, don't put your hands in your pocket, because that quick split second, you know, that's all it took. And you know, some people may think, well, he was in the car, what could he have done to you? They have the advantage in the car because they know what's in there. They know where stuff is at. They know where their firearm is at. They know where their knife is at. They know where mace is at. They know where everything is at. They're still inside the car. They have the advantage. You may think we as police officers have the advantage because we're standing somewhere outside. No, we don't, because we have to prepare to be reactive. And you know, they're going to be proactive, because and once he found out he was going to jail, that switch flipped. He was like, well,
yeah, it's some of the comments were even like, well, it looked like to me that he was trying to let him know he had a gun and was taking his gun out because he was going to jail, or just like, what the hell are you talking about, man? I mean,
it's just the way people try to excuse things in the comment section, and then the stuff I see in the comment section when officers get down, it's like one less pig. Well, you know, now they know how I feel. Like, remember when the dad killed the officer that had nothing to do with his son's death? You had people applauding that. It's like, this world is just so ugly. And this is my thing here. If you really want cops to be good people, you might not want to piss them off, because guess what? They're human too. They're going to snap.
yeah, absolutely.
And cops have snapped. Cops have absolutely lost their shit. And people have paid the price. So why would you want to piss off the very people that you say are quote unquote racist, savages? They don't just want to beat you up. They just want to kill you. Why do you want to piss those people off?
Yeah, if I'm face to face with a lion, I'm not going to try to kick it and fight with it. I'm going to do as less as I can to not be seen as a threat. But these people, they're so scared of the cops and stuff. But they're militant. They want to fight them. They want to pull out guns. They want to not do what they're being told, and then they wonder what bad things happen. Sometimes, sometimes the officers are at fault to use excessive force or not a reasonable amount of force, but the bad guys still caused it by their actions or inactions.
Absolutely. And we got another this is our last clip right here. This one is just more stupid than anything. It's the whole people are just not afraid of cops anymore. People are not even afraid.
Nope.
People don't respect police officers anymore.
Absolutely not.
They're aggressive. Now, Step, I want you to watch this video and tell me how many, let's say, I don't want to say how many crimes. But let's say how many times in this video the officer had absolute authority to make the arrest.
Get on the sidewalk. Yeah. I don't care where you stand. Get out of my street. You're standing in the middle of the street.
Yo, you don't got your right to put your hands on him, bro.
Don't touch me. Turn around. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Yeah, you got the right one. Don't fucking touch me. Let me walk. Don't touch him one more time.
Stop touching him. Tell him to stop touching him.
Get out of the street. Stop touching me.
He didn't do nothing, bro.
He didn't do nothing. He wasn't doing anything.
Yo, y'all some weird shit, bro. Oh, bro, he on some weird shit, bro. We just tased him for nothing, bro.
He just tased him for nothing.
Shit. Bro, I'm not doing nothing, bro. Back up, nigga. I'm not doing nothing. I'm gonna record.
I just don't know what to do anymore, Steph.
Well, one thing is, you know, it's not tactically, it's not good to walk up to somebody with your hands down by your side, you know, and get in their face. You know, you want that reactionary distance. But yeah, man. I mean, and you know, if I'm not gonna tell somebody if you do this again, you're going to jail, and then they do it again, and I'm not, you know, it just empowers them to keep doing it. But everybody, yeah, I'm telling you, it seems like you see in the video, these videos, everybody's militant, man. Nobody wants to do what they're asked to do. Uh, and you know, it's okay to stand in the middle of the road, and then you hear the bystanders. You know what is always popular. I'm not resisting. You know, we're fighting somebody, and they're actively resisting. They're trying to punch us, kick us, whatever. They're pulling away, grabbing us, but yet they're yelling, and everybody else around them, they're not doing anything. They're not doing anything, and I'm not resisting. And then on video, it looks bad until a layman. They're like, well, he's saying he's not doing anything. Why are they wrestling with him? Why did they punch him, you know, in the back of the arm? Why did like and everybody's telling them they didn't do it. You know, it just blows my mind where we're at. It comes down what it always comes back to the politicians and weak leadership not being able to articulate it. Why officers do, you know, we had Putney, who they're under Putney's leadership at CMPD, we had multiple incidents where it looked bad, people were complaining, and Putney shut them down. So basically was able to be a strong leader, been there, done that, and articulate it, and then shut the narrative down. Where now it's like, oh shit, they're complaining. So this, even though the officer didn't do anything wrong, we have to punish them so it looks like we did something. Because
Yeah,
it's perception.
yeah. That whole clip pissed me off because number one, why is he in front of that guy with his hands down like that? I
It's a
need
good way to get
reactionary
knocked out.
distance. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the whole sparking the taser. I'm like, what are we doing that for? And then it wasn't a clean hit. Dude snatched it right out. And then they wanted to go hands on. It was just a complete shit show. You told him to get out of the street multiple times. You got to make an example.
You have to, because then what? Immediately after you're going hands on with him, you got like four other people standing in the same spot he was staying in, because there was no, you know, I mean, it's like, you know, it used to be, hey, it's some of the old school sergeants back in the day when I was coming up, and you too, we had Kurt AC and some of the other dudes who were like, if they fight a cop, if they try, I mean, not resist, run away. I'm talking about if they legitimately try to hurt you, make sure they go to the hospital, right? So if you're able, you know, if they punch you, punch them hard as you can, because use of force. If I punch you at 5% or 100%, it's the same use of force. It's the same packet. So I have to make sure if I'm justified to hit you at 5%, I'm also, I have to be justified to hit you 100%. But I might only have to hit you one time at 100% or 20 times at 5%, which is going to look bad. Only hit them at 5%. You see officers writing the reports. I only hit them at 50% of my strength. Well, okay, well, hit them, instead of hitting them 5 times at 50%, maybe hit them one time at 100%. And one, it looks better, but it gets the point across, you know? So I'm not saying would I ever, you know, condone excessive use of force, but when it's time to use force, it's time to use force. Don't wrist slip it.
Yeah, and the moment he tried to put him on the street and he bowled up at him and pushed him off and said, "Don't fucking touch," that's an arrestable offense right there. Like you already
Yeah.
gave him a lawful order to get out of the middle of the street, and he did not. Like why? I get it, Steph. I'm not going to sit here and be like, did I love doing paperwork? Absolutely not. But there comes, guess what? That's part of the fucking job, man. Like
Yeah,
these
absolutely.
people aren't respecting you. And if that's your beat, imagine the next time you come out there, they'll be like, yeah, man, he's soft. He's a cream
He's
puff, man.
they'll,
Blah,
they'll be
blah,
like,
blah.
oh, they'll be like that. You say, oh, he's a bitch. He ain't gonna do shit, and it encourages them to show out with the next officer. And to as a supervisor, I'll tell my people, hey, look, before we like go and push people and shit. I mean, there's times when we can, you know, if we put hands on somebody, make sure we can take them to jail, right? So
Correct.
other than in riots and stuff, but like, hey, dude, get out of the street, I'll take you to jail. And then he doesn't move, like, okay, and tell him, hey, you're under arrest, and then
Yeah,
it's game
don't
on.
push him and then say get out of
Yeah,
the
so
street. It's
I
like
push him, get out of the street.
you've already put hands on him. So
Yeah.
you once you put hands on somebody, you can't put somebody and be like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah,
No,
now,
that's not how it
there's
works.
circumstances like maybe you're trying to break up a fight, you're pushing people back, or it's a
Yeah.
riot situation. Yeah, or but in a situation like that, it could have been handled differently, obviously, tactically and
Yeah.
by law. But it happens. Your emotion, you get pissed off at somebody. So
Yeah. So man, that was good. That was our last one.
yep.
Thank you everybody for listening. I know it's NBA draft and I know some people's there, but shout out to all the 281 people that have rocked with us for this past hour. We appreciate you so much. Please make sure you follow me at Real Prince Blue across all platforms. Make sure you follow Step. He has it right there on Instagram, Step2223, TikTok, TOG4280. Please make sure you go to our pages and like, share, subscribe, do everything. Hit the notification bell so when we go live, you get the direct access to the episode. Make sure you check out tomorrow's Real Time with Prince Blue. It is a special episode because tomorrow is my birthday. So we're going to be
happy early birthday.
Thank you. We're going to be celebrating my birthday on air tomorrow with me, AJ, and Inked. So I appreciate if y'all show up for me. The promo video is out now. Go across all social media platforms. Just make sure you go to it, like, share, subscribe. My Cash App is a part of it because I got something fun I want to do with y'all tomorrow. So it's going to come in handy. Trust me. I'm trying to do something fun. So I thought that'll be a fun way to do it. Don't worry. I'm not going to be like selling coffee mugs and stuff like that. Special shout out to my Trifecta fam, AJ and Inked. They're going to be with me tomorrow. My brother, my sister, AJ's an asshole, but he'll be there. I appreciate y'all, man. Like this is wild, man. I appreciate y'all. 281 people. That's the most we've had in the episode probably ever. Don't quote me on that, but I appreciate y'all so much. That means you're showing up. But please make sure you keep liking and subscribing because that helps the algorithm and that helps push us out. I appreciate y'all. Step, you got anything to say to the people?
That's it, man. Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize, unfiltered. We don't rehearse. We log on, 10 minutes prior to going on, say what's up, whatever, and we do the countdown, and we're raw and unedited.
That is correct. And we're always going to tell you the truth. We're always going to be genuine. If the cop is wrong, we're going to tell you wrong. If the cop is right, we're going to tell you right. Now, are we always right? Hey, it's our opinion. It's subjective, whatever. But it's always going to be our opinion, and it's always going to be how we see it. We're not coming from no weird angle, no grifting angle, anything like that. We're not trying to sell cops down the river. We're not trying to sell the community down the river. We just want things to be right, decent, and in order. So with that said, we will see y'all together. We will see y'all next week. But tomorrow, make sure y'all show up to Real Time with Prince Blue to celebrate my 43rd birthday with me. And with that being said, we are out.
Peace.
Yeah. Look, black and blue lives. Yeah. Hey, that's a new vibe. Yeah. Hey, black and blue.